G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another episode of r/AmITheA. Now with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck another prawn on the barbie, worship Steve Irwin, and just do whatever you do because I want you to have a good time listening to this episode. Our first post is by Throwaway Ra 1992, titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my boyfriend with his business after he publicly declared it was just him? My boyfriend runs a small food business, has done for the last few years. I have my own job, but since he's begun cooking professionally, I have always been involved. From helping with menus, doing his finances and packing orders for delivery, etc. I have always felt like it was partly mine. I have always assumed he saw it the same way, as it's never been, hey, can you help me with this? But rather, you need to do this for me today. Although I have put some of my own money into this business, I never expected to be an equal partner, but as I spend around 20 hours a week doing work for him, some credit would be nice. Up until recently, he would usually say we in most social media posts, and I assumed that was the both of us. It is really all the credit that I needed. The other day, he made an Instagram business post which was partly about how difficult it is to operate right now, and paraphrasing, said it was particularly difficult for him as he was doing this totally by himself. As usual, I proofread his post. I was pretty hurt to see the line about not having any help, and I did bring it up. He said that it was better for the business if it looked like it was all him. A few hours later, he asked me to package up some orders for shipping. I retorted that he should do it himself if it's better for business. I was partly joking, but he was furious in his reaction, and I've now told him I won't do anything for him. He's now trying to fill in some forms, something I normally handle, and struggling. The one friend I've told thinks I should help him as it's not like I want a public declaration of my existence, and this is a stupid fight. I think that if my work isn't being rewarded with cash, some basic respect would work well too. I also think it might be worth him learning how difficult yet mind-numbingly boring some of the work I do for him is. So, am I the a-hole? Update. Jesus, there are a lot of comments. I've read through most and here is where I currently stand. I have no intention in completely stopping doing work for him, or breaking up with him, or reporting him to the police for financial abuse as one DM helpfully suggested. But I do want him to gain at least some understanding of what I do. Over the last few years, I've always done the majority of the BOH stuff, as it's similar to my main gig, and relatively easy for me, but this role has clearly snowballed into a part-time GM job, and it's time I set some boundaries. Tomorrow I'll have a chat with him, and if I've not been made redundant from my actual job, discuss me maybe teaching him to do what I do, and transitioning back into more of a helper role. Tonight, he can suffer doing some emails. Not the a-hole. You contribute to the business, you deserve credit or wages. If he's not going to do either, let him see how hard it is without you. 20 hours a week is a part-time job on top of your main job. It's not fair to you to be unacknowledged for him to use you as free labor. I think it's good for him to actually do the work OP has been doing for him, so he fully appreciates how much goes into it. People like that usually dismiss what others do as unimportant and nothing compared to what they do. Unfortunately, he is going to have to realize everything that OP has been doing for him and then show them some respect and appreciation for what they do. Frankly, I'd think a couple struggling together would look better for the business. The poor bloke is going to realize 20 hours on top of everything else he's doing is going to be nightmarish, and it'll be easier to do the right thing than to pretend he isn't being backed up massively by OP. My guess is his business isn't viable if he has to compensate her for the time she works, and her original funding, or has to do it himself. His entitled attitude, that jumped to rage when OP refused, hints at some serious underlying stress between the three, him, OP, and the business. Everyone sucks here. Yes, he was a douche because saying me and my partner who also works a full-time job in his message is equally as positive a message for his business. And his custom shouldn't be based on sympathy and charity. It should be based on a great service or product. I digress. A lot of the responses here are declaring that you spite him to make a point. I agree with this approach if it is a regular old douchey colleague or acquaintance. But this is your partner, and it requires a lot more respect and consideration from each of you to be heard and learn from each other. Don't risk things going sour, food pun, over making a point that could be more healthily made in other ways. As my partner always says to me, use your words. Good luck. You're the a-hole. He's using the phrasing of him being on his own because it's a more moving story than the two of you. He even explained this to you, and you said in the past he has always used we and us phrasing. You're being selfish and wanting some recognition when he's trying to ensure his business survives any way possible, including marketing it as a one-man show on the outs. It's a single Instagram post. Edit. This is perfect. There's a guy who created a business with the help of his partner, and the only thing that people care about is how much credit she gets during a single Instagram post during a pandemic. Posted by user Label Me Introvert. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my 9-month pregnant girlfriend we are not getting rid of our 4-month-old puppy just because she's getting overwhelmed? For starters, she's 39 weeks. She's literally about to pop. She also got the dog without consulting me. It was literally a spur-of-the-moment thing with her, and not one time did I tramp about it, or trip. He's the loveliest golden lab mix with green eyes. I will say he's a handful, and although our apartment is spacious, it's only but so big. I feel like he sleeps most of the time, but when he's in play mode, he can be a bit much. I pretty much chalk it down to the lack of special attention. Obviously she's pregnant, so the urge to take him out and walk him on a consistent basis while I'm at work is rather non-existent. I'm not saying she doesn't at all, but I feel like a properly trained dog is going to behave and adhere to house rules. I take him out at least twice a day, and to the park at least twice a week, though I'm well aware that he should be at the park more. Secondly, I just feel like she's missing the principle. She took on the responsibility, and now she's overwhelmed, quote-unquote. She even laughed when her sister-in-law suggested we put him on the side of the road at her sister's Mother's Day dinner. Not to mention she rushed into finalizing to move into our current apartment, which she low-key hates. She's a serial offender when it comes to this type of stuff. Furthermore, I feel like I compromise with literally everything. Whenever her 4 nieces and nephews want to come over, I might tramp about it, but I give in. I give in to whatever she wants to eat, whatever she wants to drink. When we order food, I pay all the bills and utilities. I pay whenever she needs her hair done, etc. She literally has 0 responsibilities. She hardly cooks or cleans, and I get it she's pregnant. I just feel as though she can be a really selfish person at times, but this time she's gone too far. I've invested financially and emotionally into the dog, and we haven't even had him a full month. She gave me an ultimatum, which is me or the dog, and I responded no, it's me and Cujo or nothing. She also named him Cujo. I could be wrong in this entire situation, but I'm not budging. Not the a-hole. You're right. A dog is a lifetime commitment. Edit lifelong commitment for them, obviously. Why are so many people confused by this? And you both took on that commitment when you got him. Don't make him suffer and lose his family. Animals are living creatures with feelings and attachments just like people, and they get severely affected by abandonment. Your girlfriend is so wrong and being so selfish, especially when she's the one who got him without thinking about it and without consulting you. So many people have pets, including young pets, when they start families, and they do just fine. You guys will be fine too. He's just being a puppy at this point because he's so young. He'll grow out of that stage with time, and like you said, with proper training, he can become very well behaved. You sound like you're providing him with good care and a loving home, with you anyway. He's lucky to have such a dedicated and loving dad like you. This is why I think that everyone sucks here. The dog will be home with her all day, and she's going to be busy with a newborn. If she's not making the effort now to interact with the puppy, she definitely won't after the baby comes, and he won't be around enough to make up for that. That's not fair to the puppy. As the puppy gets older without training, the more effort and patience it will take to train him. Let's face it, she's not going to do it, and they should find the puppy a home now, rather than wait till it gets bigger and untrained and harder to find someone to take him. How does the husband suck here? That he thinks he can force her to be a good dog owner, therefore putting the puppy through her negligence every day rather than finding the puppy a good home right now. Maybe if she didn't go out and get a dog without consulting him, and maybe if she wasn't now a crappy person for treating a dog like a disposable object, I'd agree with you. But she did both, so I don't. These comments are ridiculous. Dude, everyone sucks here. She's 39 weeks pregnant with your first child. If she's voicing to you she can't handle the dog, believe her. A newborn is no fudging joke. She's not going to be able to handle that and an untrained puppy. Yeah, she sucks. She doesn't do anything else. She's entitled, blah blah blah. But she's a human being, and she can potentially have PPD and SNAP. You don't want that. The dog is 4 months old, not 4 years old. All these people saying you don't give up a dog are right, but literally, you have had this dog for a month. A ton of people will be happy to take a golden lab puppy off your hands. Do the right thing and rehome it. You might be able to recoup some of your costs, and the dog will be happier too. They haven't even had it for a month. She does virtually nothing and can't handle a damn puppy that she bought without consulting him. How the hell is she going to handle a newborn if she can't handle a puppy? Posted by Cancer Friend, titled, "Am I the a-hole for being irritated that my friend calls herself a cancer survivor? I'm female, early 30s. My friend is Bethany, is female, mid-30s, and I've known her for years. Recently, Bethany had a basal cell carcinoma removed from her face. Basal cell carcinoma are the most common type of skin cancer, especially for people who have spent a lot of time in the sun. They can be disfiguring if they're left untreated, but they don't metastasize like other cancers, so they don't really pose a huge risk to your life or health. I've known a couple of other people who have had BCCs, but after initially panicking at hearing the word cancer, they tend to get it removed without much fanfare. Bethany, on the other hand, has been posting on social media about living with cancer, the fear of receiving the diagnosis, surviving cancer, and self-identifying as a survivor. She hasn't been specifying what kind of cancer she had, either, so many people are understandably worried. I also know some people who have, or have had, real capital C cancer, the type where you do chemo and write letters to your loved ones in case you don't make it. So I found Bethany's post pretty tasteless. With BCCs, you can get them removed in 10 minutes at the doctor's, usually using topical anesthesia that numbs the area. The day before Bethany was going in for this, she mass texted our friend group and said she was scared for her surgery. I privately thought she was overstating the procedure a little by calling it that, but I rushed to reassure her. I validated that it was scary, but that she would be okay, and mentioned something about how I was scared the year prior when I'd had a tumor removed from my abdomen. For context, it was not a malignant tumor, but it was causing problems where it was, which is why they took it out. I had to go into the surgical center and stay there half the day, get prepped, go under general anesthesia, care for the incision site wound for the next few weeks, the whole shebang. Bethany responded to me referencing that experience by saying, "That doesn't count. It wasn't cancer." I didn't want to make a thing of it when she was dealing with her own worries, but that comment really rubbed me the wrong way. I feel like I may be taking it too personally though. I haven't said anything to Bethany, and I'm not going to, but I've been nursing this intense irritation over the whole situation. Am I a huge jerk for privately policing my friend's language around a medical event that is genuinely frightening to her, especially since it's really the first big health scare of her still youthful life? Am I being too snotty about essentially gatekeeping cancer? Is it petty of me to think of her social media posts as attention-seeking, or to think that they trivialize other people's battles with cancer, given that she does, medically speaking, have a type of cancer? I can't really check my thoughts on this without anyone IRL, so I'd really like a check either way. Is this a reasonable thing to privately grumble to myself over, or am I the a-hole? Edit, I'm kind of surprised by how heavily the comments are leaning towards not the a-hole, and it's making me think that maybe I wrote this post to be too one-sided. I wanted to add a comment I wrote in one of the replies for more context. I think I may even be understating my irritation in this post. With some of her social media posts that I've felt misrepresented the gravity of the situation, I felt something closer to, I guess, rage? That's still too strong a word, but it's sometimes closer to the rage neighborhood than the irritation neighborhood. It seems like a huge overreaction on my part, and it really did get to the point where, when she would bring up her cancer, it was like a big numb screen would slide over my emotions, like I was fatigued of hearing about it, and I'd just feel annoyed. It got to the point where I would instantly assume bad faith on her part when she'd mention it, assuming she was trying to milk it. Like something inside of me would just go, "Oh boy, here we go." And this is someone I love and care about. It's a bit scary to feel that way, to be honest, and even though I haven't said anything, and I've tried really hard not to let my irritation show in facial expressions, etc., the fact that I feel this way at all makes me think that I may be the a-hole here. You're the a-hole. We gatekeeping cancer now? Yeah, that's a fair perspective, and it's something I've been worrying about. Re my reaction, it seems kind of petty to feel this way when my friend truly is scared and does medically have a cancer diagnosis. I totally get where you're coming from, and it would probably get under my skin also, but she does actually have a form of cancer, and that can be really scary. I'm impressed with how receptive you are to other opinions. I wish more people were like you. To be fair, her friend completely disregarded OP's own scary surgery experience to remove a tumor. You're the a-hole. You have no right to gatekeep cancer, and if being a cancer survivor rewards any kind of social capital in the form of sympathy, the issue shouldn't be that she doesn't deserve it, but that said class shouldn't receive extra capital. Not the a-hole. As someone whose mother has fought 4 real types of cancer, screw your friend. I second this. Screw your friend. As someone who has MS, serious and potentially disabling, I rarely post about it on social media unless it's MS Awareness Day, once a year, and I want to increase awareness for others. People who post about their minor health issues on social media piss me off. I will third this. That doesn't count, it wasn't cancer. This is awful, also. I'd trade my non-cancer, along with 12+ surgeries and 2 decades of pain, for basal cell carcinoma any day and twice on Sunday. Agreed, I'd trade my hip disease for BCC any frickin' day. After 2 hip surgeries at 17 and facing a 3rd at 19, living with chronic pain and arthritis, it would be a blessing. Update. Am I the a-hole for being irritated that my friend calls herself a cancer survivor? An update to my previous post. I never ended up talking to Bethany about her behavior, and I also made sure not to vent about the situation to anyone IRL, since that would have just created unnecessary drama. That said, posting here really helped me so much in dealing with Bethany and giving myself permission to just turn off my brain when she brought up cancer. However, about 3 months after my last post, Bethany's sister, who's all in the same social circles as Bethany, also got diagnosed with BCC. She had the same procedure done, but was much more transparent and honest about the whole process, including what the doctor told her about BCC not having many risks. After that, Bethany, thank God, stopped posting about being a cancer survivor and mostly stopped mentioning her own BCC altogether, with just a vague mention every few months. The timing was really merciful for me, because a friend of mine who has cancer has been going into and out of remission pretty much her whole life, and who knows for a fact her cancer is going to be the thing that kills her someday. Went out of remission around that time, and I think I may have lost my cool with Bethany if she'd still been framing herself as a survivor during that time. Thanks again, everyone. Edit to clarify, I'm not glad that my other friend, Bethany's sister, got BCC. It was a source of stress and discomfort for her, and I was sorry to see her go through that. I was just relieved that Bethany stopped talking about her own experience in the way that she was previously. Man, my dad had that same cancer, in his finger weirdly, and he was calm about it and acted like it wasn't a big deal at all, because it wasn't. Though he did tell us that when we complain, he's going to be like, well, I have cancer, so... And he was just joking, and hasn't even done that. I can't stand people who make a big deal out of nothing, but I'm glad she finally stopped. Posted by user RubyRose12345678, titled, Am I the a-hole for demanding something my great-grandmother promised I'd have from a distant relative, even when it's in her will that it goes to me? When my great-grandmother moved a couple years ago, a bunch of my mum's cousins, my second cousins, helped her, and took a bunch of stuff without asking my great-grandma about it. My mother, grandmother, and I couldn't help in the move, because my mum was in the hospital for months straight. She's so much better now. My great-grandma will be 96 this year. Ever since I was a little kid, my great-grandma has told me that I would be getting a necklace from her. It was my grandma's first ever diamond that my great-grandpa gave her. They lived a happy marriage, and the thing was quite well taken care of for it being around 70 years old. She put it in a box and planned on giving it to me either when I turned 21 or for my wedding, or when she passed, it would go to me. She even addressed the box to me to make sure I'd get it. Well, when she moved and my second cousins helped, this necklace disappeared. The oldest of the cousins took it, and at first, she had thought she put it in her closet with her other jewelry. Now after 2 to 3 years, it's still gone. A couple weeks ago, the oldest second cousin posts a photo of the box with the necklace in it, with what my grandma wrote on it too, and says she was cleaning and found a family heirloom. My great-grandma has a really fancy writing, and it's sometimes hard to read, but you can easily see my name is spelled on it. I want to ask for this necklace, as my great-grandma had intended for it to go down to the firstborn female in my family. My grandma would have gotten it, but she has passed and wouldn't want it. My mum would prefer I'd have it. Great-grandma had a son and a daughter, my grandmother, and planned to give it to my grandmother. I want to ask for this necklace when it's supposed to go to me, as I want to wear it for special events like my great-grandmother wants me to, especially since I'm getting married soon. Am I the a-hole for demanding a necklace that was promised to me? Not the a-hole. Sounds like someone stole it. If it's in her will, it belongs to you. Well, if she's dead anyway. No, she is still very much alive, but she would have given it to me as I turned 21 a few months ago, but it had went missing. She didn't know if she would be alive long enough for me to get when I turned 21, or if I got married earlier. She would have given it to me before the wedding. She's currently 96, almost 97 in May. So why can't you get Grandma to address this for you? I doubt anyone is going to kick up a fuss if Grandma takes control of the situation. Because she has no way to contact her. Only my mother and I contact her, and has no way to contact her about it, nor would she remember. Plus, second cousin constantly changes numbers, so I couldn't ask about it either without having trouble. With your mother, call the cousin who has it and explain the situation. Why are you scared to ask for it when it's yours anyway? Because my mother said she may use the excuse that I should have helped my great-grandma move if I wanted it so bad. Only really close family knows my mother was in the hospital. And she's very hard to contact. She constantly changes numbers, so what number me or my mother have are both ones she's stopped using. Plus, I'm only 21 and she's at least twice my age, so may try to pull a Karen. Technically, she was the first daughter my grandmother's brother had, but it was supposed to go to my grandma and then to my grandma's oldest daughter. My aunt, but she passed as an infant, so my mother got it. Call the police. She stole something which isn't hers. Good advice. I think we can see why she changes numbers so often. Probably stealing from everyone. Tell her you want your necklace. Not the a-hole. It was planned to go to you, your name is clear on it, and it was property of your great-grandmother's and she wanted you to have it. Ask for it, and if it's in her will, enforce it when you need to. Update. Am I the a-hole for demanding something that was promised to me by my great-grandma from a distant relative? With the advice you gave me here, I had commented on her post and personally notified my second cousin that I was supposed to get the necklace, not her. At first, she made claim that she had no idea what I was talking about, which was kinda true, as the necklace going to me was the only told to me by my side of the family anyways, as it was supposed to go to my grandmother, but she passed, and my mother didn't want it, so it would go to me. She then made an excuse that I should have helped my great-grandmother move in order for me to get it, when I couldn't. My mother was in hospital, and I was only 15, 16, 17 years old. It's been some time, so I don't remember how old I was. I'm now 21. It started to show she wasn't planning on giving it back, but I decided one day when I was hanging out with my great-grandmother, I called cousin and great-grandma talked to her. I think it made my cousin feel bad, as great-grandma made it very clear I was to have it. Cousin had tried to make a deal with me. She was willing to give it back if I was to promise when her daughter, 12, would be able to have it when she got married in the future. I said no, as I plan to give it to my children when they're older. She did send it back, and it's currently in my possession and kept where no one can take it but me. Thank you so much for the advice you guys gave me, and now I have the at least 70-year-old necklace back, and I'm super excited to wear it on my wedding day in a couple of months. Edit, I do plan on getting it appraised by someone I know very well, like you guys suggested. Edit 2. Had it appraised. Surprisingly, it was the real thing. And since it's a European cut diamond, it's worth more than a normal diamond's in production. But I don't ever plan on selling it, as I plan to give it to my children. Alright, well I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of r/AmITheA. Be sure to tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below. There's also links for my Patreon and also channel membership, now activated on the channel, that I'm allowed to have out there, I guess. This has been Markee. I hope you enjoyed today's content. I don't know how to hit the 40-second mark on this, so my day's been pretty good. I kind of just took it chill, took it easy. Redditor, I like his content. Ripe seems pretty cool. He left a comment down in the last episode, so, support Ripe. He's a good lad, and I hope that he does get his monetization back quick, and soon, and fast, and epic. I'll see you later, guys. You have a good day. Bye.